It's that week again, Patch Tuesday week for Microsoft users. And it's been quite the week for 0 days. We've seen no less than 4 hitting Microsoft products, including, I should mention, Windows 11.
So, Davey, what's going on with the Patch Tuesday vulnerabilities? How many are there and how serious are they?
Actually, the numbers are interesting because different vendors, different analysts are coming up with different numbers, whether you include, some are including a bunch of vulnerabilities that were fixed last week in Edge, for example. I'm not including those. So without those, there have been 71 new vulnerabilities that have been fixed, and 68 of those are rated as important, which is serious enough. 3 are critical, and 4 of them, as I've just said, are 0 days. And one of those 0 days is being exploited in the wild by attackers already. Now, this is important because if it's being exploited already, you need to fix it, apply that patch as soon as possible. And that includes Windows 11 users, or does it? Because the 0 day that's being exploited in the wild can affect Windows 11, and indeed there is a patch out for Windows 11 for it. But I'm told that Windows 11 isn't being targeted at the moment.
Well, I guess it's not being targeted because there's not very much of it out there. It's not a particularly big attack surface yet, but it must be worrying architecturally if almost immediately post-launch, Windows 11 is already being exploited, even at very small scale.
Well, yeah, you say sort of small scale, but there we go. So let's have a look. Of those 71 new vulnerabilities that I've just talked about, 14 of them affect Windows 11. There's 14 patches for Windows 11 already. Of those, 4 are remote code execution, which are very serious indeed. 5 are elevation of privilege, which are used by attackers to ramp up the privilege that they get once they get on your machine, to admins so they can move on to other attacks that give them better network control. 3 were information disclosure. 1 was a denial of service, and 1 was even a security feature bypass. So, you know, there's a lot going on here. There's a whole cluster of vulnerabilities already in Windows 11, and that's before hardly anybody has upgraded.
So, David, I guess one of the trade-offs when people do update is going to be, we have seen so many examples of Microsoft Windows updates that degrade, connections to printers or performance or the start menu. There's a litany of these things. So what's the trade-off for users out there right now?
Well, at the minute, I'm not seeing any reports of negative impact for Windows 10 users, but that can't be said for a subset, at least, of Windows 11 users. If you're using an AMD Ryzen processor-powered device, there are reports coming in that performance is being hit by up to 15%, which is quite a hit. Now, obviously, these are some very serious vulnerabilities, some of which are being exploited. So you need to take your security seriously if you've got a Windows 11 machine. But if you've got an AMD Ryzen-powered machine, you then have to look at, is that hit to performance for my usage, especially if you're a business, for my usage, enough for me to then say, well, I can't update to these security things, especially if the most critical of those, the 0 day, isn't targeting Windows 11 machines in the first place. Getting this risk analysis right isn't easy.